Thanks for joining us for the Member xCite presentation. The Member xCite presentation is informative, interesting to the audience, and showcases the strengths of the presenter as an entrepreneur and their area of expertise. It's not a sales pitch, it's a 10-minute educational and insightful exploration into what they do. And of course, it's exciting.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our xCite presenter today, Angela Durrant from the Visible Club, to present to us on the 3 circles of influence, what influence is and why it's so important. Angela has been in business for 14 years. She opened a vocal coaching studio in 2008 and over the next 10 years helped over 1,000 singers and business owners define and develop their voices and professional careers. Wanting a greater challenge, Angela started a corporate training company, successfully working with senior leaders in the Ministry of Defence, NHS, local government and other private business owners wanting to speak with impact and influence. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Angela Durrant.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the 3 circles of influence and also how important that is. So we're always expressing ourselves, but we're not always expressing that in the way that we want to, or even that we are aware of. So how do we influence, and why is it so important that we understand how we influence? So if you are used to social media, you'll realize that influence and influencer have almost become interchanged, but actually the word influence in the dictionary actually means the capacity to have an effect on a character or development or behavior, or on something to affect change indirectly or in an important way, i.e. she's a good influence or a bad influence. But in our modern day social media world, the idea of influence has moved itself to marketing, and it's actually moved itself to influencer. And the idea is it's actually changed from character-based to almost celebrity-based. And that means that a person with the ability to influence potential buyers on a product or service by promoting or recommending them, particularly on social media. So how is somebody who is not a celebrity meant to actually be a genuine influence so that you can bring on more clients and make more impact with your message? Because if we're not being a personality, as in a celebrity, we have to make way more use of our own personal impact. I love this quote by Patsy Rodenberg. She's an acting coach who I found out about back in 2009 from the theatre world. And she said, long before you breathe in and open your mouth to speak, even as you walk into a room or stand up to begin speaking, the people around you have made their decisions as to whether they will lend you their ears or give you their respect. And that's really quite a strong quote. If we are already making an impact before we even open our mouth, even if we come into a Zoom room, people around us are making a judgment whether they are going to pay attention to us or not. And if we're putting hours into our networking or into our presence, that's going to make a difference. So what did you think when you looked at this first picture of me? Did you think that I looked warm or inviting? I chose it deliberately to express a certain part of myself. What did you think of when you saw that? Also, what do you think of when you see this? Do you look at that and look at some of the associations, the fact that I've done radio, the fact that I'm already up in a room speaking? Does that express credibility to you? Are you influenced by it? How we are representing ourselves is really talking for us. Now, the interesting thing is that every human being has presence and they have the ability to influence. And so I'm going to talk to you about something called the 3 circles of influence, or the 3 circles of energy, and we can interchange that with our presence, because actually what's really made the difference is that we think that some people have charisma and we think that some people don't have charisma, and that is not true. We are all born with the ability to use our energy and to use our presence and our personal impact. And for some people, You see it a lot, and for some people, they seem to hide it a little bit. So what does the word energy mean to you? When I looked at the word energy, it had all of those different words to it. And this is the reason, because people think that there's so much behind the word energy. Again, a lovely dictionary definition of the word energy is that it's power, derived, and it's physical. The physics of it is that it's a property of matter or radiation which is manifested as a capacity to work. So basically, it comes from the Latin meaning energon, which is in or within work. So it's basically saying it's denoting a force or a vigor of expression. So basically, how we express ourselves is from within, is how we are really making an impact on people. And there are so many different ways to make an impact, and you don't have to be an influencer to do it. There are your voice, your breath, your body, your mind, your heart, your spirit. All of these things give energy and receive energy back. So the question is, why do we really lose our presence? And it's our learned habits or our experiences that sometimes cut us off from the connection to others and to ourselves. So if you look at this, I think you can almost got a little bar at the bottom, but if you look at this, the communication equation is actually that only 7% of the words that we actually say are what really people are reading from us. When I do all my leadership training, they're always amazed to realize that 93% of what people are picking up from us is our tone of voice or our body language. In other words, we are giving off way, way more than we realize even before we've spoken. So in the theatre, we used to call this the 3 circles of energy. And it's one of the core trainings that I love to bring to the table. So I'm kind of giving you the good stuff straight off here. When actors were acting or creating characters, they are looking at bringing characters to life. And if you look at a good film or a good actor, you'll see that some of them seem withdrawn or some of them seem different or aggressive or more engaged. But what is that they're doing? So in the theatre, we call it the first circle. And that is first circle presence is where you are inward focused, you're withdrawn, a bit more self-conscious, tend to hide things a little bit, tend to almost be classed as introvert, but that's not what introversion actually is. It's that we're really hiding our presence. We're not speaking up, we're holding back. We're sometimes drawing our energy back in. If I did this presentation in first circle energy, you would actually feel as if you were bored by me. You'd be bored by my voice. I would be seeing as if it's sitting back. All of my energy would be falling into myself. And you would notice it, and it would be disengaging to you. All of the energy is take, and it's not give. If we swap over to the opposite third circle energy, that's often a superficial, it's going completely the other way. It's enthusiastic often, but it can sometimes lack in intimacy. It's charming, but it doesn't listen. And it's almost like we're putting a force field up to the world that says that we are all giving, but we've got a defense mechanism that doesn't allow much back in. The interesting thing is we are so used to seeing third circle energy out in the marketplace, out in messaging, out in the way that people present, that we think that that is confidence. And so people that are more introverted or that they struggle with their visibility will often imagine that they have to be like this in order to make an impact. And that's not true, because actually third circle doesn't work. We can see just by these pictures that we don't necessarily feel that we can connect with that person. So second circle energy is where all good performers, speakers actually live, where intimacy and equality lives. So when we are in a state of equality with each other, when we are giving and receiving, when we are listening and feeling and being heard, it's a focus that's outside of yourself to one specific thing. It could be a book, it could be a toy that a child is playing with, it can be another person, it can even be through this video to you. But that second circle energy is what actually all good performers, all good presenters, everybody that wins, the winner of a sports tournament will be in second circle when they win. They will be focused and they will be connected. And it's where all the grounded nature and feeling impressive actually comes from, because there's nothing that you can do that's least impressive than actually trying to be impressive. So how do you move to second circle? First of all, you focus your energy outside of yourself to a specific point. Even when we're nervous, focus outside of yourself. Let your breath be easy and free. The first thing that we do when we're nervous or we're worried or we're thinking of ourselves is that we stop breathing and we hold our breath. And then move your body, release the tension and focus on purpose. The more that you focus on purpose, the more present you will become. So the Greeks used to believe that at the moment that you speak a physical word into the world, your truth exists and your words live. So because we're all born with presence, it really is your main superpower to develop. And there's just some ways to connect with me. I do some one-to-one coaching. I run the Visible Club, and I'd love people to refer me to other business owners that actually want to do more speaking or are struggling to make their message heard as well.
Thank you so much, Angela. That was wonderful. I think what I really appreciated was just how clearly you laid out those 3 different circles so that we can really see the difference and to be able to identify maybe in different scenarios which space we were in. Does anybody have any other questions or comments they'd like to share with Angela?
I just put it in the chat. That was an excellent presentation. Loved it.
Yes, it's like you teach people how to do public speaking or something.
I do.
Absolutely. Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or anything for Angela before we move through?
I don't have a question. I just had a comment because I think intuitively I learned some of those things about second energy because of my experience in theater and everything and dealing with severe social anxiety. But having the words and realize, oh, that's what it is. That was really eye-opening. That was fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you. It's very teachable, this stuff. People think that they've got it or they haven't got it, and none of that's not true. We've all got it. We're born with it. It's just we've got to learn how to use it.